All right, welcome back. We are here for Once More Into the Void, episode 3. We have just, done the hard part, which is scheduling the very last session. So, we can go into this one feeling like, got some breathing room. Yay! All right. Okay, so it's my turn to pick. And let's look at the list, the wonderful list of things that we have to do that we can have left. Let's see Max tend to Harmony in the ship's infirmary.
Oh, we're going right out the gate.
Damn straight. Damn straight.
Oh God, I'm not prepared.
Okay, okay, fine. All right. Oh my god. Oh, god. If we don't want to do that one first, fine. Okay. All right. Okay.
I just didn't come like spiritually prepped to be smooched right away. I feel like we have to build up to it. We have to do some foreplay, you know?
I
Okay.
mean,
Well, then who comes
who's
after me to pick? Is it? Is it?
I
Is it?
do.
Okay. Then you
whose
pick.
mistake is that not being prepared? You come to once more in the void, not ready to be smooched?
Dude.
Be better, Elle.
I
Be better.
know. I gotta get it together. I know.
Okay, it's fine. It's
Honestly.
fine. It's fine. Okay, so all right, so fine. Kevin's choice first, and then mine. I don't care. It's cool. We're all timey-wimey anyway, because we're like fighting for a timeline. That's what we're doing.
Um,
What did you want?
I mean, I was going to put up that scene as second mini game, knowing that you had first choice. But if that's the case, then oh man, I'm looking at either blowing off steam with Mori and Tal Kai,
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to see more of like the captain that we all know and love. But there's also only if we have the time, Captain.
Yeah.
Although I feel like narratively that would come later, but or what we once were. We also have between Mori and Captain Takai. Actually, yeah. I want to learn more about the captain that we all signed up to save the world with the first time. So maybe what we once were with Mori and Captain Talkai.
All right, let's find
How does
out.
that sound?
Yeah, it sounds fine. Because I'll find out too. I did not prepare, so we'll find out together. It's all good.
What we once were, page
Page
42.
Thank you. We can't leave the past behind. Experience a flashback, direct look at the past that may hurt or strengthen us. Reflective and insightful time. All right. Okay. So you want us to, it's the captain and Maury. Okay.
That's my suggestion, but
Okay.
if
All right.
you two are cool with it, then
You cool with that, Jazz?
Sure, let's try and figure this out.
Okay. So what, where is, old set of recordings reveal something I gave you that you held on to all these years, or a collection of photographs? Or do you think it's the other way around? I feel like it's something one of us gave the other that we held on to.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's more fitting that something I gave you or you gave me?
Narratively, I think this is going to be very unhelpful because it's going to be you choose, Mats. But narratively, I think it could either be interesting to sort of have a contrast to like Max showing you, these like super heroic news feed um, recordings of yourself, and
Hmm.
maybe Maury giving like a more personal, grounded version of that to sort of
Hmm.
have that narrative contrast and callback.
Ooh, okay.
Or we could do it because there's been a lot of like, I feel like there's a lot of like, like I have that a sign of devotion to the captain, something that the captain gave you, like all of that. So maybe it's like just more a personal trinket that I gave you that maybe I didn't even think was important to you. Um, But yeah, but if you have something that you think is interesting for the captain to have given, or if we want to talk more, I guess, about, so I think, let me see. I genuinely don't remember who this character is. I have a weapon that the captain gave me with love, so we could also
Yeah.
find out more about that, I guess.
Yeah, that sounds like
Those are sort
a
of my
good
options.
yeah. I think that sounds like a good jumping off point if you think.
Yeah, what do you think that weapon is that you gave me? Or shall we find that out when we start playing?
You always like to be spontaneous. I think you'd like to find out as we start playing.
Sure. In that case, each crew member describes what has changed about them the last time that we saw them. During this intimate moment, anyone may ask for details about the locations, relationships, or circumstances. What has changed about the captain since we last saw him?
Hmm. Well, we're obviously on the ship now. I think I think he's experienced like, several setbacks. I mean, obviously like, we got cornered by the enemy. That under engineer, got him to reveal some information. Got rattled by Max showing him like, you know, the old heroic things that he had done, but then he knew that the uh the enemy had like done that kind of like as kind of fulfilling prophecy, but just like making him their like placeholder or something like that. So it wasn't necessarily real. It was just more of like, hey, let's make this guy the figurehead because it just makes sense. But Mori was always like the grounding point. Like there was something about Mori that, again, you said it best when you were facing off against Max. You said you knew Tal Kai. What is it about Tal Kai that always brought you back to him? And I think maybe he's starting to feel that. Maybe, they're here. Everybody else is here for the captain, and he's trying to get that back. Um, when he asked Harmony to throw the stabilizer to get away and destabilize the gunship. So there's that shadow of that captain. But I think here in this private place, I don't know, maybe a viewing deck or uh, maybe his study or whatever on the ship. Maybe this is where maybe this is where you come upon him and like, this is where you actually have the chance to talk with him privately. Do you mention anything about like, the fact that Max faced off against you, that Max confronted you?
I mean, not yet. Maybe it will come up, but I wouldn't have said anything yet or start with that.
Right. And I think
Um,
basically, I mean, like, again, he comes back from that one mission with Harmony, like, a bit rattled. He's
mhm.
maybe not, as much swagger, you know? Um, like, you can tell underneath the veneer that there's something that's bothered him. That
Mhm.
he's, you know, he's covering up for something.
Yeah, and I think what changed about Mori is I think it's sort of the opposite. I think the more rattled she gets, the more put together she looks. Almost like a sort of like a balancing act where before there was like the casualty, like a casual the layers, the seductive, almost dress-like quality to her, but now it's like much more like form-fitting, tight, like not ready for battle because we're not suiting up for battle, but like very much a more like prim, proper, pristine kind of vibe to her. Her hair as well, like sort of those floaty, like stardust covered locks are like all put together in like before they were sort of like, messy bun kind of vibe. Whereas now it's like prim and proper ponytail, like everything is tucked away, everything is ready. Everything about her just looks pristine and perfect. And I think the one thing that has also changed is we see that she is wearing um, what seems to be like two bracelets. And I think, I don't know, let's do two bracelets. And I think these are the weapons that you gave her. So I think they combine, like, they're separate elements that you gain sort of through the wreckage of these progenitors. Maybe this is sort of like what was left of a weapon that we once used against them. And I think it's like essentially like a sort of nuke, right? Like combine these elements and it's just weapon of last resort. We're just blowing up everything. And I think you gave it to Mori in like a very symbolic gesture of, I know you will use this when you must, and I trust you to, use this when the time is right. I trust you and only you to keep like this most destructive thing on your person and use it only when the time is right. And I think maybe before that was always like sort of hidden under her sleeves, but now it's right there, a symbol of trust and defiance. The player whose character who fears the past the most takes the first turn. On your turn, choose if you'll relive a memory of pain or a memory of strength. Ask your partner to bring the memory to life with you. They answer freely. I feel like it might be the captain.
Yeah. Hmm. Memory of strength. Let's see. Choose if you'll relive a memory of pain or a memory of strength. Ask your partner to bring the memory to life with you. Oh, there was a time when I believed you understood my pain. How did you comfort me and strengthen my heart? Because I believe you did. You were there for me, Mori. I think you come upon him maybe fresh after that debacle. Oh. He's still in his suit and everything. His hair is down from the you know, whatever tie back he had, and he's looking a little bit dejected, and yeah, maybe it brings back that memory of when he looked like that.
Yeah, I think Mori brings you the equivalent of coffee or whatever beverage it is that you drink. Kind of, I imagine us in like maybe some kind of more private, like lounge, relax area on the ship. And she'll sort of put it next to you on a table, elbows on the table as she looks at you and says, "Ah, one of those days, hmm?"
Oh, you remembered. Thank you.
I always do.
Did I tell you how much I appreciate this? How much I appreciate you?
No, you don't have to. That's not why I do it.
It helps me. You help me. And I do appreciate you, Mori. Even if I don't say it.
Oh, it can't have been that bad, can it?
You weren't there. I tried to bluster through again. Tried to be the big bad captain that I always am. And Sometimes it's a game of chance, I think. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't.
I think she just smiles at you for a moment. I think that's probably what it's going to be like when you start being yourself too. Except I think you're going to feel slightly less shit when it doesn't work.
True.
The captain that you think you need to be, they made that captain. You know that, right? You understand that, right? It wasn't you, it wasn't us, it was them.
That's a lot to live up to.
Exactly, so don't. We can't live up to the memories of ourselves, Dal. Memories are made to be airbrushed and painted over and trimmed until they're beautiful and perfect and what we need them to be. You cannot be that man. You cannot be that captain. It's not the captain they need, however much they think they do.
Because it didn't work before, did it?
It didn't.
That's why they left.
I think that's one of the reasons. But Tal, I didn't.
I know.
I mean to say that they left not just because of you. They left because of who they are.
Thank you. And he reaches out a hand for yours.
I think there's like a hesitation, but then she will let him reach or take his hand, but not quite look at him. I think like this whole conversation has kind of been, like that cool, I'm like giving you the pep talk, but I'm looking like slightly past you kind of vibe. Like her body language has been very casual, even though like her words have been quietly impassioned.
Sure. Your turn.
Yeah, let me see.
Let's see if my himbo will actually pick up on anything.
Oof, I mean, some of these.
I know. Keep going. Pick one.
Oh God, choice paralysis.
Well, you could start with is it a memory of pain or a memory of strength?
I mean, we did a memory of strength, so I think I want to do a memory of pain because I am who I am. Sure. I think I revealed my heart to you, but you misunderstood my feelings in the worst way. How did you break my heart with your kindness?
Oh, God. Oh, this could be interpreted many different ways. Shit. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, you do it. Don't make me interpret it.
Oh,
I want it, but
God.
you do the work.
Oh, man. Would you have said something about your son? And he would have interpreted in a really weird way.
Sure, yeah.
How would you have?
Do you think that maybe you thought that like letting me stay was like you doing me a favor because I could be with my son or something like that? Whereas for Mori, it was very much no, no, no. I would have loved to go there, but
Yeah.
or it could be romantic, but again, I don't feel like it is. But we could go that way if you want to.
No, I mean, it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, I think it's more of a, how to say, I thought he was doing you the greatest favor. He didn't understand. He couldn't understand. How would you have explained your son? Because you said
Mm-hmm.
specifically it's like he didn't listen.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, like ears open but mind not mind closed,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Since this doesn't have to be like right now, but it could be like a literal flashback.
Oh yeah.
What if we sort of, like it's this kind of moment, but I think the roles maybe are reversed. I think like Mori is the one that's looking. Maybe we are back on that planet where
Mhm.
we started. And I think Mori is sort of looking up into the sky. Maybe those like starflies are there again. She's giving them some food, she's giving them something. What if she said something? Dialogue is escaping me right now, but what if she said something to the effect of like, missing family or wanting family? And Tal Kai maybe understood that to be like, oh, I'll do you the favor of you can stay with me and be my family, rather than understanding that what she wanted was to be assured that she could go to her son and not betray you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he would have totally been like, "No. I mean, I can I can be the family that, you know, in their absence. I can be your family away from them. I can be your home away from home. You will always have a home with me, Maury. Never doubt that." And the look on his face is the look of somebody thinking that he is giving you the greatest gift in the world. And probably he gives you the nuke bracelets when he says this.
Yeah, and I think she is holding them in her hands, like these two, I think, like, like these platinum, we see sort of like these chemicals, these neurons, like shimmering inside them, barely contained. And she's holding them as I think the last of the starflies kind of disappear into the night sky until it's just stars and darkness and this immense power and the weight and loss of home. Because I think she sees that and she thinks that what you're asking her is that one day she will have to use this, and one day you will be the only thing that's left of her home. You want to not give her a replacement, you want to usurp. And I think she understands that you think that is kindness. So she very carefully puts them on and gives you a smile and says, "That's what you need from me, Tal. I'll be there."
For him, the greatest gift is obligation. Yeah, I'm not really liking this character. Goddamn! Shit!
When everyone's had a turn, decide if you wish to unearth another memory or if the scene will come to an end.
It's up to you. Do you want to do like one more each, or do you want to end?
I'm fine ending, but I think I'd like to maybe wrap it up in the present day.
Sure.
I think she will sort of, you know, give you like you're holding their hand, and she gives you like this, encouraging squeeze. And she says, "Rest up, Tal. Tomorrow will look better."
Thank you for everything. And he gives you that, I guess for him, a familiar embrace where he clasps both of your hands and then he presses like his lips to your forehead and then yeah, that's kind of how he leaves it.
I think Mori just smiles up at him and says, "Not for everything, for family."
For family. With the The most himbo smile on his face. That's all I'm gonna say.
And yeah, she will sort of take his affection and then leave him there to pick himself up. And I think we see sort of the moment in the doorway where, for one moment, she looks over her shoulder, like maybe she's going to speak up. Maybe she's going to explain what happened between her and Max, what she really wants, what he can give her if he just gives her permission to love her son, if he just understands. But she sees you sort of, hunkered over your cup, looking haggard, and she can't do it. There's that one long moment, and then she turns away and walks off.
I have never, I have honestly, even my trophy characters, I've never hated a character so much in my life. My own character.
Poor
This
man.
is bad. This is terrible. I've never hated my own character so much in my life. Anyway,
I mean, in all fairness, Mori could just communicate. Like, she could just be like, "Hi, I need this from you."
I know he could be so much worse, Elle. I know, but I mean,
Yeah, Mori is not innocent in this situation. Let's be real clear here. Like,
okay.
she is doing
It's
this
okay.
to herself.
It's okay too. It's all right. Okay. Anyway,
At the end of this minigame, the two crew members
wait.
involved. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. The one who revealed the most during the
Oh.
flashback chooses a revelation because we're not there. We're not at the loyalty draw yet. We have to go for a revelation first.
So correct.
Yeah. So revelation is at the bottom of 43. So I think Maury revealed the most for sure.
Sure.
So you choose one of those revelations.
I absolutely love that we're still not making it clear why the fuck Mori is staying. And I kind of want to keep it that way now. Let's see. It seems. Oh God. I like the one that changes the context of our memories, but I've no actual idea for it. So
It seems like the memories are frozen in time, but they suddenly crack under the pressure of the present. We both reveal something that changes the context of our memories. Oh boy, yeah, that's a bit of a pickle, isn't it?
yeah, the forgetting one is also interesting because it feels like those characters have been really trying not to do that. So maybe let's go with that one because I don't really have a context change. I feel like the context is already changed since we know that Mori is contacting them again.
Yeah.
So we both allow ourselves to forget something too difficult to bear across the years.
Mhm.
I tell you what you've forgotten,
Mhm.
and you tell me what I've forgotten.
Right.
I think Mori's parting words, maybe like sort of in that moment, she will say, I think she says something to the effect that you cannot be the captain that you were, but you are right to think that it's not enough to be Tal Kai. That is not who they need you to be. And I think I'll gently remind you that there was a time where you remembered how to be both. I think that's what you've forgotten, that you can be both. Before it got the better of you, before you started living up your own hype, you were both.
And maybe he doesn't even know where this is coming from. Maybe he does sense the weight of being with him for this whole time. Maybe he says something about, and you've chosen to stay with me all this time, and reminding me of who I am throughout all of this. When maybe I can remind you, you've always had a choice. You can always stay or go. They chose to follow the captain and also be the people that they were. You too have that choice as well. To be with me, Tal Kai, but also be yourself, Mori. Remember, you can always choose. And he goes back to his cup.
Yeah, and I think she will leave sort of under that crushing weight because with choice comes accountability and responsibility. And she's like, no, it's so much easier to pretend you're my prison. Don't know.
Oh, so Max was right
Oh,
after all. Goddamn, no!
no. Don't no. Not choice.
No!
Okay.
Ah, fudge.
Heavy.
I forgot to do the thingy again.
Now
Hold
we
on.
gotta get some cards.
Okay, hold on. I gotta get to the freaking room again. God damn it. Okay, hold on.
I have one card. This is great. Oh, bam. Won't you look at that?
Oh, I pulled a black card. Thank God.
Me too.
Okay. All right, great. So, for the loyalty draw, if you pull the black card, if you keep the card, you briefly describe what this regained loyalty looks like. Change relationship, a new belief, a growing hope. If you give the card to another player, they briefly describe a moment of closeness between them. So, in the interests of let's save everybody else because everybody's got to go up against the enemy sooner or later, I'm
Yeah,
going to
I want
save my card, and I'm going to eventually give it to Max
I'm
because
also
Max
gonna
needs
give mine
cards.
to Max.
And I'm
Wait,
going to
how?
describe and wait, hold on. And then Max will, when I give it to Max, then like Max will describe a moment of closeness between us. So we'll get to that moment whenever we get to that moment, Elle. So yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna
I can also give mine to Max, and then you can give yours to Harmony
okay.
because I have a higher one than yours. Or maybe you could also give it to Max. That's also fine
Yeah.
because I have a high one.
Everybody should give their cards to Max. Just do it now.
Yeah.
Do it now.
Okay. All
Or
right.
I
Well,
could
actually,
give
you know
mine
what?
to
Actually,
Harmony.
that we can totally do this as a kind of like a transition moment if we want into the next scene, like kind of like an in between kind of thing.
Mhm.
So, actually, yeah. So maybe timey wimey da da da. Um, maybe the captain will, you know, seek out Max for some reason. Um, checking on systems or what have you, and like kind of like see how you're doing, Max. And you know, this is our moment of closeness. So you would just describe uh, like how this brings us closer, I guess.
Mm. I wonder if we see a brief scene of Max tending to Captain's wounds as well, because he's a little beat up after
Yeah,
the
true.
the mission, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Um, so I think we have a little montage of Max doing the usual sort of diagnostics just to make sure everything is running as it should in the captain's body. And he will pause again as he examines the captain's torso on that old or newish wound that Max noticed in their recruitment scene. And he'll just look up at the captain and ask, will you tell me how you got this?
Max, it's not necessary. It really isn't.
I know it isn't necessary, but I care.
It's just. It's just a flesh wound. Just a bout with the gang of thugs. I mean, trying to get away and doing our usual thing. Not a big deal.
If you say so, Captain.
I do say so, Max. It's sweet of you to worry, but you don't have to.
I think Max just continues running through the routine, but we see as he turns to kind of pick up a stethoscope from the tray behind him that he's smiling. The captain calling him sweet.
And I would like to give my card to Harmony. So you get to describe a moment of closeness.
Oh boy. A moment of closeness between us. Do we just see them like in the mess hall together? Just uh no, 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 no. I think Mori might bring her some tea, and Harmony sits on the in the ship's observation deck, just staring out into the void, the stars, and judging by the art that's being used for Mori, quite similar, I think. And uh, Harmony's having trouble um, staying together sometimes. There are days that are better and worse than others, and maybe more even asks like, how is it today? Harmony will reply, it's doing all right. Thank you for the tea. It at least eases a little bit of the pain. You don't have to, but I know you already know that. And so I'll just say thanks. Means a lot.
I think Mori smiles, not at you, but like at the void outside, sort of again doing that thing where she's not quite looking. Says, "You don't need to say thank you either. You are crew, so we take care of each other."
You're right. I don't have to.
Think she smiles, sort of knowing that yeah, we both don't have to take care of each other, but we do. And I think there is that smile in recognition of us having that same sentiment.
I think that's all that moment needs to be, because this is just a moment, really.
Okay, so time for the scene that I wanted. Yes, yes.
It can be, yes.
Sure.
I mean, we can have another one. Somebody pick another one. If you're not ready yet, it's fine. Smooches. Sorry.
So let's go there. Last time we touched, will my feelings finally reach you? Last time we touched, it's a mini game for 2 or more crew members exploring a moment of uncertain intimacy. When you choose this mini game, choose at least one other character to be in the scene with you, someone who makes you feel vulnerable and lonely. Others can join the scene whenever they want. ask your chosen partners what the present circumstances are. I think we've already kind of settled on Harmony is in the med bay getting examined by Max. Does that sound about right?
That does sound about right. I'm imagining that the setup is quite a bit more intense than the sort of simple kind of routine examination that Max was doing on the captain, just because of this new uh temporal instability that Harmony's experiencing. Um, so perhaps I don't know exactly what it would look like, but Max is like sort of trying to stabilize that, and perhaps he's brought in several other Maxes to help. So you're actually surrounded by, we'll say three Maxes. That seems like enough.
Sure. We'll run with that. Um, yeah. And well, each crew member describes what has changed about them since we last saw them. Um, I kind of touched on it, but yeah, I think Harmony is every now and then she just has these very into the Spider-Verse kind of glitches where just like a part of her body will just suddenly like jolt in several different directions at once, and it's all kaleidoscopic, and uh in between them she just looks more exhausted, as if like trying to hold herself in one place or in one moment is emotionally and physically taxing and requires concentration.
I think for Max, physically, he looks the same as usual, but he looks almost guilty. Like somehow your being hurt is his fault, even though he had absolutely nothing to do with it. So there's an extra care that's being taken. Um, Everything is uber methodical. He checks and then double checks and then triple checks. And I think until the start of this scene has been unusually quiet in his concentration. And that goes for all three of them.
Is there a way that either we, the audience, or Harmony would know which Max is? I believe we've been calling them Max Prime. Or are they like
Yeah,
full on doppelgangers?
I think that each has a serial code sort of embedded under the skin, right at the collarbone, we'll say. And when they're in the presence of progenitor technology, the serial code sort of glows like it's an implant right under the skin. And you know Max Prime's serial code.
Um, the other question I have about the past, in when we fought the progenitors last time, the big battle that you know we all remember, um, was it just the one Max on the ship, or was it kind of like this where we had a few of them throughout?
If you don't have a preference as a player, I think it was probably just the one back then.
That was what I was leaning towards. I feel like something about that scene in the refuge led me to believe that like we brought on a few more Maxes because of the new technology, the progenitor technology that we brought on board as well.
Mhm.
But all of our memories together, Harmony and Max Prime, those are ours.
Yeah, absolutely. That feels right to me too.
Cool. Those are the questions I had before we get into the actual game itself. Do you have any?
think so, but if anything comes up, I will be sure to
Absolutely.
clarify. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
I want you to guys remember though, general rule: ad lib. If it starts feeling stilted, ad lib,
Of
please.
course. Here's a fun question. Which of one of us feels the most vulnerable? Because that's who takes the first turn. I'll make a case for Harmony because again, she's kind of destabilizing here. But if you want to make an argument for Max, I'll hear it.
I do think Max is feeling vulnerable, but I don't think I think Harmony is the person that makes the most sense for this.
Okay. On your turn, choose an advance, and the other partner will choose an answer. I want to loosen my clothing and say something vulnerable. May I?
You may. But first, I want you to accept my apology. I think Max breaks the silence by saying, I feel that I was wrong in the womb when I didn't step forward to defend you and you were hurt. I feel, I suppose it's guilt, and I'm sorry. And he does not look you. Like all three pairs of eyes are looking elsewhere, like anywhere but your face, as Max Prime says this. Will you accept his apology?
Yeah. Um, I understand. I should have hid myself away from the ship a little earlier. I understand that people know who the progenitors are now, but they don't know who I am. And it's not my place to make that distinction for them or to believe that they would just intuit someone's intention. And they were hurt and they needed to show it. They People are like that. And I don't blame you or hold it against you at all. But thank you for thinking of that moment. I didn't realize it stuck with you all this time.
You say that when people are hurt, they hurt each other, but you aren't that way. You deal with pain by hurting yourself. I can see it. And you feel three sets of hands running their fingers over your various scars.
She pulls her arms in, even though she's, if not nude, then in very little. But she pulls her arms into herself away from your hands.
I'm sorry.
You're right. I didn't hurt others. You're right. I hurt myself. But I think the drive is the same.
I want to I want to touch your cheek and tell you how special you are. May I?
You may. And then I say something similar in response.
Then I think I imagine perhaps that when you kind of jerked away from Max touching your scars, maybe a little lock of hair sort of fell over your face. And Max, one of the Maxes is now like sort of feeling the lymph nodes in your neck, sort of doing a kind of lower face and jaw examination, and like without even thinking about it, um, he will sweep the hair out of your eyes. Um, and when he does that, it's almost like the sensation triggers a memory or something, but he'll pause and the fingertips linger a little too long. And he says, "It's true that you aren't like the others, but I can't help but miss them sometimes. Maybe it's the bond between a maker and their creation, but I can't help but be aware that you or someone like you is responsible for me being here. You let me have something like life. You're my lifeline."
Max, it's interesting because in my timeline, we solved the problem of technology. And she holds up her hand and places it on the hand that's on her cheek. And that sort of like pulse of green light goes through the conduits underneath her skin. And she says, "But I feel like we lost something when we joined with our technology by making it one and the same. You can't, there's something to be said about separation, about distance. You only appreciate something when it's far away from you, whether it's by time or space. I could have never dreamed of something like you, Max." And I think you are alive. It's not something like life. You look and breathe and feel and make decisions just like the rest of us.
But
But there is no but.
there are many things in a human's life that I've never experienced and never will. And if life isn't rooted in the physical body, as the captain has been trying to tell me, and as you now say, then surely it is experience and memory. If there are experiences I can't have, then I can't ever be human or progenitor or anything but machine.
Maybe that's enough. If you don't have to be human any more than I have to be. I'll never be the captain. And I think that's what I am trying to say is we all tried to achieve symbiosis, synthesis, all as one. And here's the thing, it doesn't work. We need our individuality. But
The Maxes all look at each other in their identical faces.
I want to touch your serial number. And do I want to admit the secret I know of it? Or I want to touch your serial number and tell you how much I want to be touched by you. May I?
May you indeed. You may.
Actually, how about this?
Mm,
Do you keep your serial number like hidden beneath a collar?
Probably, yeah. If it's like, yeah, if it's right above the collarbone, then it's not usually visible. You would have to reveal it.
Okay. Um, then how about this instead? I want to loosen your clothing and I ask you to tell me a truth I've suspected. May I?
You may. Um, and I suppose I will answer your question, so I'll say something similar in response, I guess.
Sure. Um, so Harmony reaches up, or her hand goes from the hand that was on her cheek to, and I think it's a little awkward, has to go under arm, but she eventually finds that top button and undoes it slowly. And she sees the serial number, which is glowing because she's close. Now I have to ask you to tell me a truth I've suspected. There's
I'll say,
something. Good.
oh no, I was just gonna say, I think all three Maxes say some variation of Harmony, what are you doing? But none of them move to stop you.
There's something about the human experience that you feel you're missing because you're created, I suppose. Is that true?
The two Maxes flanking Harmony sort of look down bashfully, though there's no redness that comes to the cheeks. Max cannot blush. But the one whose serial number is revealed, he says,
Actually, can I pause for a second?
yeah.
Harmony goes to a Max that's standing off to the side, not the one that was touching her cheek, and reveals his serial number, which
Oh, interesting.
I'm
Mm.
hoping that's the Max Prime, that it was a different Max that had been up till this point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like showing that she knows which one is the real Max even before she sees the number. Is
Yeah.
that, yeah, I like
That's
that a
what I'm
lot.
aiming for. Yeah.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I think the sort of intimate knowledge required for that throws Max off guard. And watching her carefully, he says, I was created to prevent harm or to treat it in those cases where it occurs. But I was never made to give pleasure or receive it.
And do you think that doing so would make you human?
I don't know.
Oh, Max. I think it's your turn.
I want, I think I want to touch your, I think against his better judgment, Max will reach up to touch one of your scars again. He does it very, very slowly, like watching your reaction, repeating this intimate gesture that you shied away from before. But he wants to touch it and tell you how much he wants to be touched by you. May he?
He may. And then I remain silent in response.
I'd very much like to find out. You made me a machine. Can you make me human? How does Shay react when he runs a finger over her scar for the second time?
We see that there's a version of her that pulls away. Like we see a shadow image of her yanking her arm back out and away. But the but then she's still there, and that image goes away. But I don't think. But yeah, she stays, and she's staring deeply at Max, into Max's eyes at this point. Um, there's fear there, but by golly, she's trying. And then I think she smiles actually. It's sort of like it starts as a twitch, and it might even look like a glitch at first. Um, and she just says, "Stars, we're so broken, aren't we? It's so silly."
If there's one thing that I can do, it's fix you.
I don't know if you can, Max, but maybe just for a little while, I can believe it.
And shall we draw a curtain over what follows there?
Yeah, I think she will gently, like one step at a time, push Max backwards until he's up against a wall and lean in close. And just as their lips begin to meet, we can fade to black. How does that sound?
At the end of the minigame, all crew members who were in the scene each draw a card face up. Ugh,
Oof.
red.
Ah!
Red!
Oof.
God! Of course. Okay. Enemy grows stronger. Player describes a brief glimpse of the enemy and how they become more terrifying. That card is then placed face down on the enemy's pile of cards. How does the enemy grow stronger?
I think we see the wreckage of the gunship, the battle that Tal Kai and Harmony engaged in. And we see progenitors. They're, I think, camera does a cute little camera trick where it might zoom in on Harmony's hands as they go over Max's skin. But we see that sort of pulse of the light, the sort of green light that goes through those conduits that run just under her skin, the synthesis of flesh and technology. And when it zooms back out, it is still a progenitor hand and arm, but this time it's going through this wreckage, and it finds some little tiny piece of her chronostabilizer, and we see them pick up this little circular, almost looks like a CD, but it's a crystal, and they sort of like turn it over one way or the other, and they look over to a couple other progenitors and they pass it between them, and knowing that this technology is important, we see them take it back to a ship that is all ivory and gold.
A question that perhaps does not seem like it would be relevant, but actually is: did the other Maxes stay for the tryst?
I'm fine with it if that is
Amazing.
if that is what you want them to go for. Sure, I don't think Harmony would say no.
Then I think
Actually, I mean, I did say at the top of the scene that like their memories were theirs, and it did seem very like mano y mano personal. I don't know. I'll leave it to you. Whatever you think is more interesting for the setup, but I'll say I'm fine either way.
honestly it works for me either way. I just wanted
Sure,
to know what the circumstances were for
sure.
my narration. Um yeah, then I think you sort of narrated uh this like kind of cutaway as an interstitial with the scene between Max and Harmony, and I think that sort of continues, and we see Max Prime and like, lips crashing together and all of that. And we cut away to the other Maxes as we watch the serial number on Max's collarbone glow. And we see a very similar sort of green pulsing under Max's skin. It almost looks like a pulse traveling along a circuit, perhaps communicating information, downloading memories, sending them elsewhere as the technology implanted deep inside of Max reacts to the technology embedded in Harmony and with Max connected always to a progenitor mainframe somewhere in a different timeline, perhaps even in a different galaxy. His feelings, the sensations, and the memories that they bring up are being broadcast to parts unknown. And I think perhaps we see a progenitor at a computer and we sort of zoom out to see once again Avi, who is tapped into our ship's computer systems and thus tapped into Max as well.
All right. Your choice, Elle. Next minigame.
It is my choice, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think I want to go for Before We Lose It All,
Okay.
which is page 49.
Okay.
Unless someone has like a huge objection.
Oh boy. Nope. Let's go.
Okay, cool.
This is great. I love this one because it's like we don't know who's going to be on the ship and who's not. Okay.
Yeah, kind of
Oh
exciting,
boy.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. You want to go ahead and read off the stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Before We Lose It All, we weren't ready for this trap. Before We Lose It All is a mini game for crew members who are caught off guard when the enemy attacks and boards the ship. You see a glimpse of what the enemy is capable of, and you are forced to make difficult decisions. Playing this minigame. When a player chooses to play this minigame, everyone draws one card from the deck. Everyone who's drawn a black card is on an away mission and not present when the enemy attacks, and they keep the card in their hand. Everyone who's drawn a red card is present when the trap is sprung, and this card is placed in the enemy's pile.
Okay. Let's go ahead and just do that right now.
Agreed.
Okay. Okay. Black is on a way mission. Captain Mori. On red is present. So it's Harmony and Max are present when the trap is sprung. Okay. All right.
Oh no.
Harmony and Max are on the ship when the trap is sprung. Okay. Somehow Mori and Captain are away from the ship. Weird. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. Other players whose characters are not present during the enemy attack conduct the flow of this minigame, and then we would take turns leading the defending crew members.
Each crew member on the ship describes what has changed about them since we last saw them. I guess we should also sort of decide how much time has passed
Sure.
since the last scene.
Sure.
What do you think, Kevin? Or anyone, really?
I'm blanking 404. Thoughts not found. On the one hand, it could contextualize the previous scene if Tal Kai and Mori were off ship when the tryst occurred. And this might even be the worst option, and I say this in the terms of like TV tropes, is that like they're post coitus in bed together, like but relaxed and sleeping when the alarms go off.
Sure.
I'm open to hearing other suggestions, though.
I
More than
love
open.
that. I love that trope, though. My God, my God.
I love that, especially since I think last session I established that Max slept for the first time. And I
Yes.
think this gives new context to that, like why that started happening. It's because the enemy wanted to
Hmm.
kind of create a situation where we would be unprepared
Yeah.
when they boarded.
And even more so because it's like, now that like Harmony's sort of like, vulnerable, they've downloaded information and they've also downloaded information from the Maxes. Oh my God. This is perfect. And then we, like me and Maury, would definitely like, like have you choose a challenger and a vulnerability. So this is fun. Okay, great. Yeah, fun. Anyway, okay. Okay, so, yeah, so on page 50, so basically we would, all right, okay, so, um, I would just pick a crew member and I would tell you to choose a challenger or vulnerability, and then you would just pick one from the list. Okay,
Yeah.
so I would pick Max. You'd probably get the alarm first, um, you know, being sensitive to that sort of thing. So I would say you would pick a challenge.
Okay. Um, I know of a way to reprogram our defenses and weaken the enemy greatly, but there is no safe path to the computer core. I draw a card. I should not draw a card from the enemy pile, which is what I was about to do.
New
Okay, it
life
takes.
hack to play this game. We just take the enemy cards and just like, oh, it's red, but I guess I'll put it back.
Yeah, just recycle them. That's great for us.
Okay, black.
It takes skill, bravery, and an extreme amount of luck, but I clear the path for us and we strengthen the defenses. I keep this card in my hand. I'm imagining that when the security system goes off, I mean, it's like loud. It's the like rah, 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 and like the lights going red, which we've seen before, I think, in the scene with Max and Mori. But when Max experiences this, it's like that sound is coming from inside of his head and is like rattling his bones. It jolts him awake immediately, and he didn't even know he was sleeping. Um, and I think immediately he would turn to Harmony and say, like, I don't know what's going on, but we have to get to the core.
Uh,
Yeah.
and I think he looks in Harmony's eyes, and her irises are the same red as the ship's alarm. And yeah,
I think what this looks like is Max using his connection with the security system to like strategically open a segment of like a ship's hallway, and then like close it behind them. So we're like, I think he's probably grabbed Harmony by the arm and is trying to lead her to the core. We see them, running down the hall with the lights blaring, and a door opens and then like shuts tight behind them, then opens and shuts tight behind them, and they're, um, creating a path that the progenitors or whoever is boarding the ship, but he knows it must be the progenitors, can't follow.
Um,
And I keep the card. Yeah.
yeah, Harmony, why don't you go ahead and pick a vulnerability?
vulnerability. It sounds like they're trying to get to, yeah, that computer core. So the personnel is not. I feel like the one that makes the most sense is that the enemy is focused on sabotaging our essential tech and equipment, which could cost us everything. It sounds like that's what what is at stake. Um, Actually, wait, no. Uh, Elle, did you narrate? Sorry, did I miss that you narrated that like we got there? Are we in the computer core?
Um, yeah, let's say we get there.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that'll open up a few more options then. Um, so yeah, we're in the computer core, and oh boy, hmm, no, not. It's not the personnel still. I think I still think the enemy is focused on sabotaging our essential tech and equipment because we that's the stuff we got from the womb is all of this progenitor tech. They need to sabotage all of it. Um, so I sneak in and steal what's essential for our mission. Um, I need you to cover me, and I draw a card, and it's red. So I think what I say is, Max, they're going for the progenitor tech in the cargo hold or in the science lab. I know what they're going for. I know Max is not necessarily the world's greatest combatants, but I've got my little time shift gloves, and sort of like clap them together, and they sort of crackle. But without somebody to harmonize with, it's not going to end well. Um,
Harmonize.
Without somebody to I can give people guns, I can change the circumstances, I can change, I can reach into other realities, but I can't. You've got to cover me.
I'll keep you safe. And I think when Max says that, perhaps Harmony expects him to follow, but he actually keeps working on the uh, computer core, trying to salvage whatever he can. But I
Mhm.
think we'll see the other Maxes sort of having just made their way to the core, and they will follow Harmony and distract the enemy, um, take hits for her, do anything they can to make sure that she can get to that tech and take what's necessary. Um, I think perhaps even we see each and every one of them sacrifice themselves for Harmony. Because Max has many bodies, he can spare them. He cannot spare Harmony in this new connection that they forged.
But each time one of them falls, Harmony watches it, and just the pain gets worse and worse and worse each time she watches another Max die. It's like she's watching the real one, the one that she laid with. But finally, and I think the last one, the very like when we get back to the ship's core, or the not the ship's core, the technology um that we took from the refuge, a situation comes up where the only way that we get through it is by opening a temporary gap in the hull and venting the space. And Harmony has to do that by going to a version of the ship, a timeline of the ship that is destroyed. But in so doing, the Max that was plugged into the technology has to get ripped out and go out the void, into the void with all the soldiers in the cargo bay. but she's the one who has to actually like clap her hands together and open a rift in time straight out into space. But there's no other way. And progenitors go flooding out into the void.
When everyone's had a turn, the crew member who made the toughest decision during the enemy attack chooses an end.
Max, is it you for losing all of your bodies, or is it Harmony for having to watch all of them die and make that last decision at the end?
Page 51.
I think I think it might be Harmony.
It's
Because
Harmony.
even though Max did this fully willingly, he is programmed, I think, with a certain self-preservation and a healthy fear of death. So it didn't look easy, those sacrifices. Max was in almost as much pain as Harmony was. Almost.
Okay. So I choose an ending.
Yep.
I feel like based on the narration so far, the one that makes the most sense is the first one. The enemy leaves chaos and carnage in their wake, and we all suffer huge losses, which, yeah. But the enemy leaves something behind that gives us a glimmer of hope. What is it? I'm going to kick that back to, well, I guess anybody can technically answer, but if not, I kick it back to Elle at this one.
I'm actually really interested in hearing what either Mads or Jazzy thinks
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah,
answer
yeah.
to this.
I think one of the invading enemy has the reason they were able to get onto the ship was because they had used some of the stabilizer tech to do some kind of teleportation module and insert it into their their uniform or their tech, and you didn't vent all of them out. You were able to, like, like Max was able to take care of, like, some of that, like, when you were making your way to the computer core, and you were able to find someone that had some of that stabilizer tech on them. You have access to a portable stabilizer.
I want to add a little bit to that. I think the stabilizer is an upgraded version, and should you put it on, or should Max or whoever um, study it a bit more, I think you are going to realize that this would allow you, like, either a progenitor, to stay in this timeline and over time be healed of their like time illness. They would stabilize fully in this timeline. Or alternatively, it might send someone from this timeline into theirs without consequence.
See you
Damn.
playing that long game. I'm here for it. Yeah.
Love it. We see it.
But no, I'm totally down for that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think now we draw cards for the loyalty drought, right?
Absolutely. Yes, we do. Well, hold on. It's only for the people who are on the ship. So you
Yep.
two. Go ahead. Black, of course, loyalty is regained. You briefly describe what regained loyalty looks like: a changed relationship, a new belief, a growing hope. If you give it to another player, they briefly describe a moment of closeness between you. And if it's red, of course, the enemy grows stronger. And you put the card in the enemy pile. So.
I drew Ace of Spades, and I'm giving it to Max.
Is your stabilizer like a cybernetic implant, or is it something that you wear?
I think
Remind
it's
me.
something that Harmony has to wear. Um, and she normally, the old version at least, she wore it kind of like a backpack, a little bit slender, but
This is much smaller.
yeah, almost looked like a breastplate. But it's, technology.
Then I think perhaps what we see is a quiet scene of Max helping you fit this new stabilizer that we found, having perhaps done the research necessary to figure out what it's capable of. Yeah, I'm imagining just a very quiet scene, perhaps no words exchanged, at least not from Max's end, but there's a weight to his movements. Like, he doesn't age, but this experience, both experiences with Harmony recently, have aged him immeasurably somehow. Oh no, and then I'm supposed to also say he grows stronger. Fuck me. Um ooh. Can I kick this off to Jazzy? Because I feel bad that the captain and Mori had to skip out on that last scene.
That's not on you. You can't. That's fine. But sure. Um, yeah, I think I'm gonna sort of keep it in this technology that you found. I think we see some of these progenitors, they're like being tossed out of the airlock, right? And we see like one of them click something on this breastplate like technology, like something activates, and there is that shift in time, and they shift back. The person grins, and they're like in a spaceship and like this, dark interior, not very clear, but they grin and says, "It works, Captain Navy. It works perfectly." And I think we see that more and more they like start to shift back into the ship as more and more progenitors start arriving.
God damn. All right, your turn to pick. If you wanna have it out with the captain, this like only if we have the time is the perfect one. I'm
Yeah,
telling
I
you.
was thinking either only if we have the time, or it would also be extremely funny if we are just like vibing on like one of those Den of Inequity planets. Like we're just having a night out. We're just getting fucking wrecked.
I don't care. You tell
Like
me.
a
What are
part
we
of me is
doing?
like that is sort of the fun. Yeah,
That
we're
is
just like
hilarious. It's like
we're
we're
just like
just
space betting and slamming
okay.
our
Oh my god, that's amazing. We're just buds. It's fine. That's fine. I'm like,
Goodness.
oh, that's hilarious.
It's kind of funny.
And I'm just thinking the last time I did blowing off steam, it's like so fucking serious. Holy shit. Okay, but go for it. Whatever you want. It's perfectly fine. Holy crap.
Do you want to do a loyalty mission though?
That's up to you. I mean, you have the chance with only if we have the time is the perfect chance to tell exactly how you feel to the captain. Trust me. I've seen the questions. Oh shit. So, it is.
Yeah.
What's your vibe?
My vibe is choice paralysis. You know what? I'm gonna roll a dice for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Odds is we're slamming down
Yep.
big style margaritas.
Yeah.
Evens is we're having drama.
Okay.
It's a 6. We're having drama.
Having drama. All right, here we go.
So, only if we have the time, Captain, is a minigame for a crew member to address unfinished business, knowing that the captain is the only one who can help them. When you choose this minigame, consider how this can dramatically change the relationship between you and the captain. Others can join in whenever they want, but the focus of this minigame is on the one crew member and the captain. Only a crew member can choose to play this minigame, and their partner is the captain. The crew member and the captain describe what has changed about them since the last time we saw them. During this away mission, anyone may ask for details about the location, relationships, or circumstance. What has changed about the captain?
Do you think that this is what we're doing while they're dealing with the crap on the ship?
I would imagine so.
Yeah,
Let's give ourselves let's give Mori all of the guilt that she asked for a personal favor once and the ship got fucked.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Yeah, I think. Let's see. All right, so yeah, so this is the request. It's like, you steal me away from everyone else, like, for whatever. But anyway, like, how does this change? So, yeah, I mean, I think, how does he change? How does he change? My God, himbo. I think he's a little bit more relaxed around you. I mean, like, kind of like, real, like, actually thinking about what you said. It's like, trying to remember that time where he was both captain and Tal Kai, and just, kind of, you know, um, mulling over like what that felt like, and, how he was, and like, just trying to relax more into it and just being comfortable with you again, you know. And maybe, like, he's just all surface thoughts at this point. He's like not like thinking it's gonna be serious. Like, we're doing this to get back to how we were, you know. And he's not thinking that this is gonna be, a big deal or whatever. But maybe this is something that's important to you because it is, All right. So, and how have you changed since last we saw you?
I think I don't think it's a visible change. I think given sort of the time, it doesn't feel like a lot of time has passed between the last moment.
Mhm.
So I think visually she just looks the same. But I think, yeah, I think she's just growing increasingly, like she feels like she's teetering on an edge. And I think they have kept their promise to Max. They've had that one call and they haven't contacted Avi before, even though we know that Avi can see her. But I think having made that promise and knowing that she's going to keep it, the time not spent talking to her son feels more weighty. It feels heavy. It feels now like time that she is not spending with him. And she did that before too, but now it's like it's a promise, right? It's final. It's over. There is no She feels like there's not much she can do. And I think that is starting to make her feel hopeless. And she's just, yeah, I think it's just like an inward, maybe like that pristine look is just sharp now. It looks painful. It looks like something that's being pulled too taut, too strong, and it's going to snap somehow.
Oh, it's gonna snap for sure. I'm sure. It'll be great.
The crew member follows 4 stages of this minigame and instructions. The player can decide to withdraw at any stage at any point, resulting in mission failure. The captain makes choices or answers questions when asked to. And the minigame, we do the loyalty draw. Stage 1, the request. I seek out the captain and steal them away from everyone else. Captain, what task was I interrupting?
Yeah,
Or actually, no. I want to know how my distress and worry shows to you, given that I have described Nori as not looking physically worried at all. She looks perfect, pristine. So how do you know anyway?
Your mannerisms, I think. So, I mean, when if you are normally fluid, then I think if you're more jerky or more like I don't know, just fluttery. It's basically the opposite of like how you normally are. So if, like he'll notice like some things that are like off about you. So even if your appearance is more pristine, like your mannerisms would not be, because like, you would be able to tell. So
Do you say anything, or do you give me like a certain look to sort of clue me in that you've noticed?
yeah, I mean, I think he would actually say, "Are you sure we should go away and do this right now? You seem bothered about something."
I am. I am sure that we must leave, and I am bothered by something. There might be a way. There might be a way to retrieve time, history. There is a point in time where our timelines destroy each other. There is a time, a brief glimpse of it, where they are perfectly in sync. I know the point, and I once thought that knowing it, I could fix it. We could align these frequencies. And it doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be one or the other. I asked. My son was with me. And I thought he and I had the same ideas. That what we wanted was to fix this, to find the frequencies that align. But he does not.
Is this not something we should do with everyone? Is it just
No, no.
okay?
Actually, yes. You know what, Tal? Maybe it is something that we should do with everyone. But I am asking you to do it with me.
Of course. Of course. If you feel this is something we can do together and do easier, then
I don't know about easy, but I know that it must be us.
okay.
And that was, I drew a royal, which says, I tried to do this with someone else, but they betrayed me, and I tell you about it, which I did.
Okay.
Stage true preparations. We need to prepare for this mission, but I'm distracted. I choose you answer.
Okay.
I think this is, like we've already left the ship, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a long journey. And I think we need to, we sort of get like this little montage of us like picking up stuff and like
Right.
sort of following this trail.
Mhm.
So I think we spend some time together and you finally see how much time has changed me. What part of me from the past is gone forever? What has taken its place?
I think Tal finally sees you with new eyes. I think it's hard to say exactly what it is, but when he's not looking at you with the starflies and everything like that, I think he's finally realizing that how distant you've become, how just self-absorbed he's been. When he thought you were close, when you had those like I think more easygoing days together, like I think initially the first time that we were all together in the first mission, I think that's what he remembers. It just seemed so much easier then, and you seemed so much more there for him, Tal Kai, and he just now sees someone who is there because of the obligation. A friend, someone who has stuck by because she felt she had to. Maybe because she wanted to, but not as much as she used to. And, yeah. He's shaken by that.
Do you think he says anything about this, or is this like a quiet, like internal sort of realization?
He might. Maybe over a meal, he might say, or might ask, we're different now, aren't we? Just out of the blue, he'll just say that. We're
I
different
think
now.
Mori gives him a small smile and says, "Yes, time changes everything, even us."
I meant what I said, though. It was always your choice. If you wanted to leave or stay for me as captain or me as Tal Kai.
Does it make you feel guilty that I stayed? Does it make you feel guilty now? Now you're back with the others.
A little. I'm glad you did. But didn't realize until now what that must have meant for you.
You would have been alone. My son was not alone. I think unless the captain says anything, we can go to the third stage.
Yep.
The captain and I leave the ship. Whoever wants to come along does as they wish. I don't think anyone else can come along, given that we've established this is kind of happening
Yeah.
while the ship is getting wrecked.
Yep.
But if either Elle or Kevin feels like, yeah. What weapons or equipment do we bring, if any?
You were leading, so I mean, like, I would imagine that, you know, we would have brought like our standard,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah, I think the only extra thing that I bring is the data pad that has that recording on it from AV that I've been playing like over and over again. That final call. I think I bring that. And I think I bring something like the stabilizer technology. Obviously not the upgraded one. And not what Harmony was wearing, but like I imagine that we have like some sort of older backups. So I bring something like that too. And what do we see as our shuttle flies closer to our destination? Um, I think I have brought you to this is like, you know, a moon of Pluto kind of situation, like very small. I think it would barely be classified as more than an asteroid, as more than just a floating rock in space.
Mm-hmm.
But as we fly closer, I think we see these ruins of what was clearly once a city full of like golden and ivory towers, but they lie ruined and broken and shattered now. Oldest technology, somehow the point where it started diverging, even though we didn't know about it. I think it's basically like, you know, the ruined, bombed out, decayed version of what was the name? Lu Lumina? Yeah.
What is this place? Is this where the convergence is? Was?
The start and the end. I don't know what went wrong here, but I think this is our only chance to fix it. And then after a moment of silence, she says, "This is where I learned he was my son."
I'm just gonna interject here with like something that's not necessarily in here, but this is before the mission actually starts. Do you show Tal Kai what you've been watching?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that's the one thing that she doesn't want to give him.
Okay.
She's given him so much, but that is hers.
That's fine.
Um,
You draw 3 cards,
I
and then we
draw
take
3
turns.
cards.
Oh boy.
A black 2. Oh, that is spades?
Clubs.
Clubs. I don't know why my brain does not want to know the name of cards. Clubs, I choose. I mean, we start to descend and it is quiet, too quiet, and then it's not. And all around us, the city starts to almost like a replay of that moment, right? Because it's a bombed out city and it's almost like it's getting bombed out like all over again. Was this planned or spontaneous? Let's return to back. I don't know what to do with that.
Uh,
Just discard it.
yeah. I mean, basically, since you drew the card, it's like you would describe it, like, you know.
Oh,
So
okay, I describe it. Sorry, I thought it was still like you answer. I think it is spontaneous. I think it's just stuck. I think there is like this is almost like a Groundhog Day situation. And I think that's why Mori is like, there is something here that I initially did wrong. There is something in that meeting with Avi that went wrong here. And if I can find the right answer, if I can tell him what I need to tell him, if I can just have that moment again, then he's going to realize that he doesn't need to do this. And then she can fix it. And I think this city is just perpetually bombing itself out. It's just always replaying that destruction.
But are we watching from our shuttlecraft, or are we in the
I
middle
think
of it?
we're like going through it and we're like having to dodge or maybe getting hit, right? Like I think we're in it now. There's
So
no going back.
yeah, so I mean, like if we're communicating through like maybe helmets or something like that, it's like, like I'm yelling at you, and it's like, what's going on, Mori, Mori?
I think she's just like concentrated on dodging with the craft. Says we just need to get to the ground. And I think that's of course the moment that we get the ship blasts, slams into a building, and we crash.
Okay, all right,
You go.
my turn. Hearts. Oh Lord.
Well, that's a good one to put in
Oh
the discard pile, though.
yeah, yeah. Oh crap. Oh, he's such a selfish bastard.
Do
What
it,
does
do
he
it, do it, do it.
say? What the
Do
hell
it.
does he
Be
say?
selfish. Be the
Oh,
worst. Oh, wait, we need to keep these cards for a hot second.
yeah. Now, are we in the same craft, or are we like on foot?
Up to you. I think it would make sense for us to either get out of the wreckage, be like in it, or if you want to, we could have gotten separated. I'm fine either way.
Yeah, I think what happens is it's like, we get out of the shuttle, and I think the explosions like either like, like brought us off course, or we got separated because of like, trying to maneuver around them. And I don't see you because of like all of these explosions, and you didn't tell us like the course path through this stuff, because it sounded like you didn't even expect like all of these things to happen when they were happening. And so I don't see you. Such a dumbass. And then I think over the comm, and whether you can hear it or not, I don't think he can even hear, because it's like it's ringing, it's chaos, it's just incredibly hard to hear and concentrate. I think I think he's yelling over the comm. It's like, Maury, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Don't fucking die on me, god damn it. It's true, I didn't want to be left alone. Where are you? I don't see you through these explosions.
I think you hear like it's like static and crackly, like obviously damaged. Um, I think she just hear, I'm fine. I'm on my feet. Keep going. I do not need your guilt. I need your help.
Fine, buzz me coordinates.
And she will do so. One more card.
One more card. Diamonds.
Diamonds. Everything goes exactly According to plan, except for one thing. What is it? I leave behind something valuable and irreplaceable. What is it? Everything goes exactly according to plan, except for one thing. I'm gonna leave that one thing if you're okay with it. Mads, I'm gonna leave it up to you because I'll tell you what the plan is.
What's the plan?
The plan is we find ourselves in the heart of this bombed out city. And there we find sort of like this glitching hologram spirit image of Avi.
Mhm.
And Mori, amidst the explosions, amidst sort of like the chaos of everything else, will go towards it. And her plan is to give, in this weird moment, the stabilizer technology that she has. She has changed it to give her time to Avi to save him from this memory, from this moment. But that would mean that she is going to start fading out. And you know in this moment that this is a sacrifice of time in life and it cannot be undone. And it will not kill her instantly. She will fade out of time. And I think as she gives that to you, I guess I want to ask you, do you let that happen, or did you know what she was going to do? And is that the thing that doesn't go exactly to her plan because you've changed something about this? Or you changed something now?
I changed something about it. Because then he sees it through the smoke, whatever. As you do this, you approach the hologram glitch. And he's immediately, like through the comms, you hear him yell, "No!" And already, like, reaches for his holster and aims his pistol.
At Avi or Mori?
The stabilizer. And he shoots.
And indeed, I think we see in that explosion, like Mori sort of like gets thrown through the hologram, which given this explosion and the technology and everything, it's like fizzles out and it's no more. And the explosion cease and the bombed out city is just bombed out. But when the dust settles and Mori looks at you, you know you did something you will never, ever make up to her.
No. Because Royal, mission is a success. How does it go off better than we hoped? How does
I
it inspire
think-
the rest of the crew? Oh,
I think what it does,
Ugh.
regardless of their personal relationship,
Yeah.
I think it's sort of like a floating effect where she was talking. I mean, if everybody's okay with this, by the way, because I'm making really big decisions about the plot here.
Hey, go for it.
So, stop me. But I think basically it does sort of start to converge. Because her plan was basically like, we have to kill each other only because these two timelines cannot live together. But if they can, then we don't need to fight. And I think this is a very slow process. This would still take years, if not decades. And we do not know, exactly what's going to be fixed, what isn't going to be fixed. It's not a we did it, but it is a potential we did it. And I think maybe we see like small signs of, I don't know how, or maybe in harmony, maybe you can feel it, that something has changed, that these things are aligning. And I think that part of it works without Mori having to sacrifice herself, which is arguably the better option. So yeah, that's what I would say is how does it go better off that we hoped? Well, Mori thought she had to sacrifice herself for this, and she doesn't. Um, but the timelines are slowly aligning.
Stage 4.
I just want to double check if we're all cool with that. Okay. Stage 4. It's just you and me now, Captain. I choose, you answer. I avoid you for days, refusing to talk to you or to be alone with you. When there's finally no escaping each other, I let my actions speak for themselves. I find you, or we are alone. I can't really think of like why I couldn't leave, but I don't think that's too important. I think I sit next to you without a word. I take out a tablet and I show you the video. My last call with AV. And it is heavy with all the things that Mori, even in that last talk, couldn't say to him. She reassures him that he is her son and that she wishes it didn't have to be this way and that she's going to find a way to make it work. And he keeps sort of bringing it back to, you know, come home. You don't have to be with them. This is your family. You need to be here. And she like never fully rejects him, but never promises to go with him. But neither of them at any point say that they love each other or that they're sorry, even though it's in every word that they don't say. And she shows you that. And then the question is, do you accept what I have to say, or do you misunderstand me?
He watches silently next to you. And at first, he looks like he's going to try and put an arm around you, and then he thinks better of it as he watches more. And then he'll simply put his arm down. Continue to watch. And then at the end, he'll look at you, really look at you, and say, Mori, I'm so sorry.
She will take the tablet, stand up, and say, I do not need your guilt. I want your help. And she will walk away. Now we draw loyalty.
We draw loyalty.
Well, these are some good red cards to discard, honestly. I'm not mad about it.
Okay. Ugh, fuck.
Yeah, you know
Reds.
what? That sounds about right, doesn't it? That sounds about
For
right, doesn't
fuck's
it?
sake. God damn.
Not
All
saying
right.
you jinxed it. So I just won't say anything at all.
Sometimes you just gotta get wrecked.
I feel like that's the title of today's episode. The crew gets wrecked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we see the real Avi walking in those bummed out streets. He's walking through the ruins. He stops at a place where some bloodied fabric and bits of debris of technology lies, where Mori fell when the stabilizer was shot. He looks at it and he looks at his hand and he does, like sort of that where he makes a fist a few times, like, he's feeling something change in him as these moments are converging, aligning, as he's starting to get more of a grasp on this timeline. He bends down, takes the bloody fabric, and he simply says, "I'll bring you home, Mother."
I just feel like we're looking at part of the city that he passes through. And as he passes through, it's almost as if the streets are shimmering and reversing. And then we see them restoring themselves and getting back to former, not necessarily glory, but maybe just to a normal condition, and maybe even improved, where a new kind of technology has stabilized them and created something better. And that slowly rebuilds itself in reverse time. And that's how the enemy has grown stronger. Fudge. Ugh. Okay, so, and that's where we shall end our session for today. Any stars and wishes? Because goddamn, we fit in a lot for today. Thank goodness. Yay. We're doing it wrong. We have no stars.
Yeah, no stars, only vibes.
Vibes. So many vibes. Oh my gosh, this game is so great because of the vibes alone. Stars for the vibes. Stars for the vibes. For sure.
I mean, I can just kind of like disjointedly ramble for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
but
Distortedly ramble is what we got.
yeah,
Because of all the timey-wimey stuff. Holy shit.
Yeah. So the bit that stuck out to me is I mean, cynically I would call it the suffering Olympics, but definitely the juxtaposition, or that moment where Max is throwing away all of the other Maxes, because it's not Max making this decision, they're collectively all making this decision to sacrifice their lives, but it's Harmony who has to actually watch them do this after she spent a night of intimacy with them. And it's like that moment of, yeah, who is actually suffering more here? We have literal death going on, but also it's not their doppelgangers, they're not you. And yeah, there's just a really juicy under the surface deep think quandary going on there, that was, I really think, what this game is designed to evoke. So that was all really fun. Elle, also star to you definitely for walking through the smooch scene, because that's, intimacy. We joke about it in tabletop space all the time, but guess what? Intimacy is hard, and even make believe intimacy. So thanks. It was I went through it. It was fun. Yeah. The I remember vividly like the explosion stuff from the only if we have time captain scene. It was interesting, the card draws there. Also, like, just started the card draw that, like, we took the meta narrative and ran with it based on the scenes that we chose, but also the cards deciding to put Max and Harmony on the ship after their intimacy scene, and then deciding to go into Tal Kai and Mori, and like we used all of that to sort of weave a larger cohesive narrative, and I thought that was really cool. So stars to all of us for working that stuff out together and making a really cool, like, long cohesive narrative. Let's see. Tal Kai, if you apologize one more time, I'm gonna reach through the screen and strangle you. But I mean, start to having that character, and even though I know you say you hate him, um, it is actually an interesting source of conflict that, like, this also goes back to the scene with Harmony and Tal Kai, where it's like Harmony's like, I'm gonna sacrifice this part of me and it's gonna be painful for a while. And Captain Tal Kai was like, I can't remember what he said exactly, but it was like, you're asking that now? Really? And it was just like, wow, Captain Tal Kai, like, you've made this commitment to this character that he's just, he is more dense than a neutron star, and we love him for it, and it creates wonderful conflict in every scene that he's in. But boy howdy, sometimes you want to strangle those characters, but we love him for it, because otherwise without conflict it wouldn't be fun. And yeah, I really, I like, for all of the crew relationships that go on, it's interesting to see this, like, Harmony Mori situation where we just catch it in these tiny moments, and i I honestly don't feel like they need to blow up at each other. Like, they're not at each other's throats. They're not like, one thing we managed to avoid, so star to you, Jazzy, for this, is that we've managed to avoid doing that really truly awful, like, not just failing the Bechdel test, but just straight up botching it by having them, like, claw at each other to try and be like, I love the captain more and I see more. Like, we totally dodged that disgusting situationship. And I kind of like that, like, they're not enemies with each other. They don't have to be. But that said, I do kind of have a wish we have one more session together, and we really haven't seen them have a sort of deep moment together. And I feel like that's kind of like the last relationship, in the matrix of our characters that we haven't really, like, dug into. So, and I'm really kind of curious what's there to find, because I genuinely don't know. Yeah, Stars and Wishes is a little disconjointed, but that's, I think, me for now.
Yeah. Yeah, stars. Agreeing with you, Kevin. I really like the Mori harmony. I love the, like, little glimpses that we've seen. And even though they've been, like, so little, I feel like there's still so much there. And I kind of love that I can tell if they're, like, just genuinely at ease with each other, where they don't need to sort of do the subtext talk, or if they are, like, so aggressively ignoring what's there that they cannot do anything else, right? And I feel like echoing that wish, it would be fun to kind of find out. um I sorry, my brain is breaking down. It's 3 a.m. Individual stars, yeah. I loved Elle, just peak Elle horror of having all the Maxes kill themselves. I liked how sci-fi it got, that moment with the progenitors attacking. And I really liked the way you described, like, that alarm, like Max feeling it, like, in his head, in his bones. Like, what a horrifying experience to have. Um so I thought that was very great. And just like the how in one session we went from, like, Harmony and Max, like, I mean, they had a relationship, but it was like there was something there to like fucking this, like we really went through like, yeah, a 2 to a fucking 15 in like one session, and I think that's really fantastic. I wonder what the captain thinks about this, because there were things going on there too. But I think that's really cool. I loved the whole serial number bit. That was very fun. Um, and Mads, yeah, I love how you sort of how I could really feel in this session the captain starting to feel the weight of all these years. Because we had him be like very stable, then we've had him sort of like a little bit showing that demanding side, but still being like very much the captain. And then I think having so many Mori scenes here, we really saw Tal Kai, and we really saw how much he, I don't want to say like it's self-pity, because I think that he has a lot of reason to be upset and guilty and feel bad. So I don't want to like dismiss that, but I think it's interesting that he does kind of like, he kept coming back to that like last session, like being very like, are you gonna trust me? How does that affect me? And this is the first moment where we really saw him sort of grapple with the weight of, oh, what did that mean to you? And then still sort of going to, like, oh, I'm sorry about it, I shouldn't have done this, but still having that moment where it's like, oh, I see. um yeah, and I thought you did great, letting Mori be like very cold, um and you know letting her guilt you like that without doing it, because I want to be clear, I think Mori is as much at fault here as the captain is.
It takes two to tango in a relationship, believe me, I know.
Exactly.
So
And I think you gave me like a lot to work with as Mori, to sort of bring that to light. Um, and I really liked the last moment where the captain like sabotaged her self-sacrifice, and her being like, "Bitch, I was gonna sacrifice myself.
oh, he don't
Don't be
do
like
that. He don't
this."
do that. No, no, no. Uh-uh.
I thought that was a very telling moment. Um, yeah, wish I feel like we are working towards whatever Once More Into the Void is. It's gonna be Mori confronting Avi. I feel like that's my big wish. Like, we need that to happen,
hmm
obviously. I think again we've had like some really cool how does the enemy get stronger moments. Um, yeah, no, I think a very good session. I think everyone brought their A game and was like very strong. And even though we were all joking, like, I don't know who these characters are, I feel like we still had a lot that everybody grabbed onto and showed us.
Yeah, I'll go since I already like unmuted. So, um, damn. Yeah, fit in a ton of stuff in this session. So thank you all. My God, this is great. Um, I am was very impressed with just the oh shit, the enemy had boarded the ship, and you two well, first off, the last time we touched was just really impressive, was just the back and forth, which is like, again, as Kevin said, intimacy is hard, and make believe intimacy is just very like it was still very organic, even though you were following the advance and the answer back and forth very well. And then going right into the enemy has boarded the ship. You guys have to wake up and like, get moving like real quick. And it was just a lot packed into just essentially two things: challenge, vulnerability. Go. That was very impressive, and I loved how you guys narrated like what the hell was going on, and how it fit into the situation. And then here we are, like, going off and just doing la da da. Jesus Christ. Maury and Captain. Oh my God. So I thank you, Jazzy, for those scenes, because those were like, um, just really great back and forth of like trying to deal with Captain in his mired in his own bullshit, and then of course like Maury, like, also like, trying to and not trying to explain herself, or like, like not dealing with the captain's bullshit. So that's good too. I mean, like, it was a lot of fun with drama, and not saying anything, or saying nothing at all. So again, I enjoy that stuff. I love all the role play. Um, yeah, so a lot of great things with the enemy getting stronger, and even like for the moments of closeness that we did manage to get, those were a lot of great um, things happening too. So appreciate it all. Stars, 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 stars. Yeah, that's what I got. That weren't already mentioned. I think I maybe repeated myself. So whatever. Yep.
Yeah, I'll try to keep to things that have been mentioned. Stars, stars, stars. I mean, we have talked about the loyalty mission, but I just want to highlight how fun it was to see. And I loved the way that it ended up with how, like, in the larger context of the plot and our plight with the progenitors, it was a success, but it like totally threw a bomb into Captain Tal Kai and Mori's relationship, which was already like not too stable anyway. So that was really, really, really fun. I also loved, I can't remember whose idea it was. I think maybe Mads and Jazzy, you collaborated on this, but the new stabilizer that was introduced and the way it seeded um some interesting choices for next session, hopefully, with its capabilities. I think it's so cool, and I'm really, really excited to see how we fold that back in. Um, for Kevin, yeah, the infirmary scene was super fun to feel out. It felt very strange for me to play Max in such an emotionally vulnerable situation, but you made it very easy, and I love the ways that you found to highlight the like shared past that Max and Harmony have, um, and to highlight the ways that Harmony sees Max as unique. And I think we learned some cool things about progenitor attack in that scene too, which was a lot of fun. Um, for Jazzy slash Mori, yeah, I love that we're going full bore in the story between Maury and Abby, and that's going to add a lot of um like really big emotional stakes to the finale. Not that they wouldn't have been big anyway, but I just really like how you're building toward that conflict. And there was something else I really wanted to say, and I should have written it down when it happened. God damn it, it'll come back to me. Sorry. For Mets slash Tal Kai. Um, just hearing you going like this fucking guy all session was very entertaining for me. Um, I personally love Captain Talkai. He is thick as a board, but he's our captain and I love him. Um, and I agree with Jazzy's comment that like we can feel like the weight that's on his shoulders. And I'm really interested in seeing what the catalyst will be for the captain kind of shrugging that weight off and like rising to the challenge of facing the progenitors again, or like whether that does happen. And if not, like who steps up instead. I think I know who it would be, but yeah, it'll be interesting. Um,
The cards will tell. I mean, can't wait to see what the climax, the last mission will hold. That's
yeah.
that's usually the fun part when we start going through all the challenges. So love that shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the only other thing I really am excited to see is a scene between Maury and Harmony.
Yeah.
Um, So we have talked about the time destabilization and the time wound that Mari has, but like of the four characters, they're the only two who really know what being displaced in that way feels like. That would be an interesting thing to see them explore together, maybe.
Maybe that'll be the last. And I mean, who's to say that you couldn't have like just a scene outside of the mini games, which I have done. So I mean, if you like want to like try to work it into a mini game or even outside of a mini game for the two of you, before the last session, like, think about it, and then we'll have Once More Into the Void. Yep. So, yeah, think on it. This was great, guys. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll have our last session in a few days. Wait, what? Yeah, a few days. Holy crap. Okay. Be prepared. Remember what we're doing. And yeah. Alrighty. Thank you all, and happy gaming for next time, because yeah, we'll be doing this. All right. See ya.
See ya.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Bye.